remember when I was in high school, there was like 2 pregnant girls in each grade. And our school was 500 or 400 or 600 people.
Holy cow.
And I like knew girls that were pregnant in 8th grade and 7th grade. And like they just were like, their parents were not educated. They were not educated on like safe sex or, you know.
Birth control, condom use, how to have sex appropriately.
Yes.
Consent.
Exactly.
That's an issue.
They were not educated on it.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, my name's Cam. I'll be your bartender today. What can I get you?
Can I get a cider?
Absolutely. What kind of cider do you want?
A rosé cider?
Let me get that for you.
Okay, thank you.
What's your name?
Emily.
Emily, nice to meet you. Get that for you here. I'm gonna put it in a little thing for you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. I'll get some ice for it.
Perfect.
Did you hear about the ice shortage that happened last month?
Is it?
There's an ice shortage.
Are you pranking me?
No, I'm very much not pranking you.
How is that possible? Wouldn't that be a water shortage?
Well, here's the thing. You could buy water bottles at the gas station. Sorry, let me get up here real quick. You could buy water bottles at the gas station, but you couldn't buy ice. And it was our first day open as a bar. And we went to like 4 gas stations, Smith's, everything. Couldn't find any ice. I had to serve some iceless drinks.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane. One time I was trying to make a meat pie. Well, I wasn't trying to make a meat pie, but my boyfriend DJ was trying to make a meat pie for Christmas. Okay. And we were like searching for star anise powder, which is star anise crushed, and literally nowhere had it.
What
what is it? Oh my gosh, I don't even know what it's from. But it's like those, have you seen like those little stars and they have like little seeds in them?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it is. So it's just, you know, a spice, which it's a really good spice, but we literally searched.
And you could not find it.
And we could not find it. And it was like, we're like, who is taking all of this? Because we know these places offer it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
But like, why is there no star anise powder? I don't know. So.
Every time someone says meat pie, I automatically think Sweeney Todd.
I've never watched Sweeney Todd.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Mrs. Lovett's meat pies.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't think I was gonna like a meat pie, but it's pretty good actually.
That's pretty cool. I've never had a meat pie. I assume it's a lot like shepherd's pie, but
yes, very similar. Do you know who Matty Matheson is?
No.
Okay, so he's like a really funny YouTuber, and he makes like incredible recipes, and he's really hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was his recipe, so that was why we made it, because he loves to make Matty Matheson recipes.
Okay,
so.
There we go. And is he a comedy YouTuber or a serious YouTuber?
He's definitely like comedy, I would say.
But his recipes are serious.
But yes, so it's hilarious because they always like break the third wall too, which is just kind of hilarious. Like they have like this, she's like the camera lady, and like she'll always just start yelling at him, and then it like they pan to her, and it's like all the production, and it's really funny. Yeah, so he's really hilarious, and he lives in Canada.
Okay.
He has a shit ton of tattoos. Like his entire body is
like
covered.
Fully covered.
Like fully covered.
That's really cool. Do you have any tattoos?
Yes, I do.
What tattoos do you have? I'm really into.
Okay, I'm like, let me.
I'm really into tattoos.
Yes, I do see that.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna have to think. So I have a Zia symbol tattoo.
Where at?
On my rib cage. It was my first tattoo, and I was 17, and I got it in a dorm room.
Oh, so is it like a good one or kind of like a?
It's not bad.
Okay.
The guy honestly was not bad. He was very nice, and it was all like very like clean and sanitized, and you know he had like clean needles, and it was like a whole, you know, he was doing it how he should.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I almost passed out on his like dorm room bed, and I'm like getting this tattoo. And then my second one, he gave me multiple tattoos. Not that time, but when I turned, I think 18 or 19. He gave me multiple tattoos. So I have wrist tattoos
Nice.
of my parents' birth years.
1964, and that's the name of a horror book.
Is it?
Is that George
sounds
Orwell?
familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this is my
Dystopia.
mother's birth year.
So 64 and 50.
And 59.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I got that for them. And then I have, well, this is,
Little swallow.
yeah, a little, yeah, I don't know why I got that, but I just thought it looked
They're
nice.
cool.
Yeah,
They're really
I was
cool.
like, I kind
Classic.
of love it. Yeah. And then I have one on the back of my arm that says "Take risks," which like feels really cringy. And I don't hate it because I have this like, I guess I still have an obsession, but I used to have an obsession with Macklemore.
Ooh. I always used to get called Macklemore in high school.
I was gonna say you kind of
Yep,
remind
there
me
it
of
is.
him. That's really funny. Yeah, I actually met Macklemore here in Albuquerque when he
Whoa.
performed at El Rey. He
Was he at
performed
El
at
Rey?
El Rey
That's cool.
years ago. Yeah, so I met him, went to his concert. It was super great. And then I also gone to his concert one time before in Dallas, and he's really awesome. But he has a song, and in the song he says like "Take risks." And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a mantra moment where it's like, I don't know, I think not that I'm taking insane risks in my life, but I think like it's a good reminder that like life is short and you should take risks.
Absolutely. That's fair.
Yeah.
And I apologize about coughing between the smoke, the crazy wind that we've been having, all the debris, spring pollen. allergies
The spring
are
is
just
the
killing me.
worst. The spring is the
It
worst.
is. I prefer winter. What's your favorite season?
In Albuquerque, fall.
Fall's good.
Fall is
Fall's real good.
impeccable here. I think it's just, you know, like the leaves, the bosque is always so pretty. Obviously the balloon fiesta
Oh, yep.
is
true.
incredible.
I'm glad I was back this year.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I just like how the fall feels here. Like it's a very nice temperature. It's not windy, whereas the spring is asshole because it's so windy.
This is true.
So windy.
This is very.
Like, I
I've
love the
never heard
temperature,
someone
but
called
so windy.
a season asshole.
It is asshole. That is what it is. Yeah. I feel like I have really horrible allergies in the winter though.
Really?
Which is weird.
That is a weird time to get them.
Yeah. I think
Is there like a flower that blooms in the winter that really gets
so
you?
there's something called ragweed.
Yes. Ragweed is insane. It's so bad. Does your house have a lot of ragweed?
I don't think so.
Okay. I know in Rio Rancho
But
they have a lot.
I was doing some research because I was like, why the fuck am I like feeling this way? And actually the worst part was I went to Amarillo to shoot a wedding. That sounds like scary, but out of
I was going to
context.
say, okay, so I assume you're a videographer then, like you like film weddings.
Yes.
You're not like,
that
oh,
is to me. No.
Okay.
Sorry. Sent
You're
to
good.
that. I'm just kidding. So yeah, I went to Amarillo, super windy, like 30-mile-per-hour winds, and I literally felt like shit. I felt so horrible. I was getting dizzy. It was like the worst thing ever, and I was like, it's winter.
Yeah.
What is happening? So I looked it up, and I guess like the pollen count of like ragweed was super, super high when I was in Amarillo. So yeah.
How do they track pollen count? That's insane.
I honestly don't know, but there's literally a website
That is
where
cool.
you can like look it up. So if you're like feeling like shit, you can be like, is this the
What's
reason?
in the air to make me feel like
Exactly.
garbage? Absolutely.
What is making me feel like shit? Yeah.
So you're a wedding videographer.
Yes.
So what does that entail, right? Because I know every girl and guy, frankly, whoever gets a camera in high school is like, I'm going to become a photographer, right?
Yeah,
But it
of
sounds
course.
like you actually are one, right?
Yes.
So what does that look like?
So I definitely started out like that way. You know,
Yeah.
I was in high school and I was like, oh, I love taking pictures for Instagram. Like I want to look hot on Instagram.
Yeah, fair.
As like a 14-year-old. And then I just kind of snowballed. And then I guess I'm from Portales, New Mexico.
Oh, my sister went to school there.
At ENMU?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
My parents
she-
taught there.
Oh,
Yeah.
she has a BS, a Bachelor's of Science
sick.
in Biology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Interesting.
she's a physical therapist. She went to UNM for physical therapy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. ENMU is interesting. Portales is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard. Stories
there.
about that.
There's a dairy on every entrance.
Oh, it always smells like dairy. It
Yeah.
always smells like cow.
I think the college is really cool. I don't like, 4th of Julys are crazy. They're super crazy.
Honestly.
I don't like the culture. It's very
The racism and the
racism, the sexism, the homophobia, anti-climate, like.
the people. It's funny because I feel like I have so much anxiety about everything.
Yeah.
Like so much anxiety about like obviously the climate. Like we just had a fire and April.
fucking everything up. Yeah.
It's April.
It's causing me. I'm personally affected by this fire.
Exactly.
Like honestly, it's killing me.
Exactly. Like people's homes are going up in flames. You know, like Ruidoso has fires all the time.
Yeah.
Like Montana is like.
Oh yeah. So you've been in Montana before?
Yes.
Okay, I lived there for a couple years, and I was there during the 2017 summer fire where Glacier burned. And you couldn't see the sun some days. It was smokeless, and this was when I was in Billings. You know what I mean? Oh,
which is far from Glacier.
Yeah, it was. That's bad.
Insane. Yeah, I just like, it's funny because DJ, my partner, he wants to move to Montana. And I mean, I think Montana is like amazing. Like, obviously we're not doing this right now, but like, you know, in the future, like if the stars align, like that would be so awesome. I have family in Montana. I lived in Montana. He's from Montana. But like, it's funny because summer used to be the best time to be there. And now it's like, you can't see anything in the summer. Like,
no, because it's always on fire.
It's smoky.
Yeah.
Like, it hurts to go outside and breathe.
The air hurts your lungs. And
yes.
I mean, the coolest town I lived in Montana was probably Missoula.
Missoula's amazing.
Missoula's awesome.
Yes.
And I lived in Columbia Falls. I lived in Hamilton and Darby.
Hamilton, interesting. Okay.
I lived in Billings, Helena. So,
yeah,
okay. There's a lot of cool places up there.
No, it's a beautiful place. But yeah, it does give me a lot of anxiety, like thinking about, you know, the climate and
all the shit
racism,
going down.
homophobia.
Yeah, you know, I ran into a lot of Nazis up there, like skinheads, especially in Great Falls area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like, DJ always says there's so many skinheads in Spokane.
Yes, there is, surprisingly. Like, why are they in... Anyway.
What brought them to Spokane?
Exactly.
Who fucking knows?
There's a lot in Tri-Cities area, too.
Yeah. No, it's
an
interesting place up there. There's a lot of diversity in... Well, not diversity. There's no diversity in Montana.
I meant like...
It's all white people.
I meant like 5 black people up there.
I was like, no, it's funny because my mom grew up there and she like had this photo of when she was younger. So like probably like the 80s or 90s and I guess 80s. And she... Maybe even late 70s. Doesn't matter. But she was like with this black girl and I was like... Were you in Montana? Like, you know, and she's like, there was literally not a single black person in Montana in the 70s and 80s. Absolutely not. Yeah, so there's not a lot of diversity. But the thing about Portales to me that's crazy is that all of these people are so ignorant and like so uninformed and so oblivious to like that the world is figuratively and literally on fire.
Yep.
And it kind of like, I'm not jealous of them because I think that's why these issues continue to be a thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, government is different. Like, anything I do won't change anything, really. But it just would be really awesome if I could just, like, not think about all of these things in a way, because obviously ignorance is bliss, right?
And I think there's a difference between ignorance and naivety. I think that ignorance is choosing to ignore something, whereas naivety is just purely not knowing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the naivety aspect of it is kind of nice, especially like, okay, growing up in Albuquerque, right?
Right.
I never really saw a lot of racism because, frankly, there's less white people here, but we were a nice little melting pot, and I was never really around it. It still exists. I'm not saying it doesn't exist here, but I was never around it growing up. And then I go to Montana, and I'm like, oh, you don't like black people.
You've never seen a person who's not white in your life.
Yeah, wild. You think that the Mexicans are coming to Montana and taking your jobs. Okay, all million of you here.
They're going to go across the country.
Yeah, to the cold.
Yeah. Jesus.
Wild stuff. Absolutely wild.
It's very interesting. I think, I dislike Portales a lot because I think like, and I think about this a lot because I'm a white woman. Obviously, I don't have a lot of struggles. Like maybe the only struggle I have is being a woman versus being a white man.
Well, especially down there in conservative America, you're the baby maker.
Yeah, I'm the baby maker. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that ignorance is bliss, and I think that there's lack of education. I think that that's why the pregnancy rates are so high. That's why these people are like popping out all these babies because they are just uneducated. Like,
and despite that, the population's still declining. Like, yeah.
And I remember when I was in high school, there was like 2 pregnant girls in each grade, and our school was 500 or 400 or 600 people.
Holy cow!
And I like knew girls that were pregnant in 8th grade and 7th grade. And like they just were like, their parents were not educated. They were not educated on like safe sex or, you know,
birth control, condom
use.
how to have sex appropriately.
Yes.
Consent.
Exactly.
That's an issue.
They were not educated on
teach
any
abstinence.
of it. And it's like, it's hard to feel like these people are, you know, like it's their faults that they get into these situations, you know, that they get into like poverty, or because obviously it's a lack of education. But it sucks to see.
1 second, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just quietly dying over here very loudly. But would it be their fault, or would it be the institution's fault in America's status? Because if you think about it, it's, in my mind, it's their parents' fault. Because no matter what we can do as a society, the parents are always pushing back. Because if you think about it, before the 90s, homeschooling wasn't a big deal until it became legalized and standardized by Christian nationalism. And as homeschooling went up, so did the power of the right political party. So homeschooling gets you away where you don't have to teach stuff like basic science, evolution, healthcare, economics, anything like that. You can just teach out of a Christian book.
Right.
Florida just banned a lot of math books because of critical race theory in math, right? Even though that's only a subject that's really taught on a college level standard.
Right.
So is it really the system's fault, or is it the parents' fault? And what's your take on that?
I think that, at least for Talis, the school system is like incredibly fucked because...
Whoa.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No,
yeah, you can swear. This is a bar. We're good. Yeah, but like, that was very strong words. Like, Portales school system is fucked.
And it is, and this is why my parents sent me to Bozeman, Montana, which has like an incredible education system. But like the thing is, the school system does not teach sex ed sex ed is abstinence.
Yes, which doesn't work.
At the school system, in the school system. So this is like these teachers, for however, I don't know how this happens or how they're allowed to do that, but like that's literally like, there's a sex ed class and they just tell you, well, don't have sex and you won't get pregnant. And then all these kids are getting
STD
pregnant. Exactly. And so like, it just is, you know, and then yes, like religion is in the school. There is no separation. They always prayed at every single event, at every single thing. Like there was like it was a lot. And it's like these people like think that everyone thinks like them, but they also don't care that there's a potential that everyone doesn't think like them. Yeah,
because I'm an atheist. Way is right. I show up and I'm like, well, why are you like? I can understand prayer because I understand communing with the divine, right?
Right.
However, should that be at that level? It's indoctrination.
Right. Well, it's the separation of church and state. It's the same thing. It's like everyone can have their own beliefs. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with believing in God or, you know, believing in whatever God you believe in. Yeah. But there is an issue, I think, when you force it down children's throats,
especially
in
kids,
school.
Because who doesn't have a fully developed brain that can be easily indoctrinated for a good reason too? Like kids were able to teach right from wrong.
They're very impressionable.
But you don't need to teach them through a religious lens, because then it often teaches homophobia, bigotry in general, a lack of disregard for all of the amendments except for the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? No one gives a shit about right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All they care about is guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's sad that the education system's like that, because I feel like Albuquerque has a shitty education system, and even then
it's not that bad.
Exactly. Comparatively.
Yeah, I think it's very hard, like, and again, as I was saying, like, I'm like very privileged to be like a white lady.
Yeah.
And growing up, like, my parents were into academia, so I was always privileged in that way, where even if the school system wasn't teaching me how to get into college or how to study for the ACT, like, I still knew how to do those things because I had my parents, and my parents were always wanting me to do good in school and like all these things. So like, there's so many people who didn't have that. So many people, if I had have just been thrown into that education system, like, I would have had very different thoughts than I do now because I had the parents that I had.
Yeah.
And like, not everyone has that. And so in that way, I can't ever blame a person for being uneducated because like, what are they going to do?
And in all honesty, if they do change the education system and promote higher education and all these things that we've talked about, they would lose out a lot of their populace from moving. So it behooves of them to undereducate their people so they stay stuck in Portales, New Mexico.
And I don't think anyone at any level cares. Like, I don't think it's my understanding that every single person at every single level in that education system is okay with how it is.
Yeah, because they don't. Again, if they change it, they'll lose out in population. People will move away to get better things. Whereas if they remain dumb and ignorant, they'll stay.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, this little population where everyone is, I don't know, like they kind of like feed off of each other, I think, in ways. So like, it's very easy to stay in that. It's very easy to stay ignorant, and, you know, again, ignorance is bliss. So I think like, yeah, why would they change if you know, having to like change things is not gonna benefit them the same way it has been benefiting them and their beliefs and their opinions.
That's fair. So we've shitted a lot on small town conservative America. Let's talk about some positives, right?
Okay.
Because Portales isn't just a shithole. But what are some positives? Again, I go back to that 4th of July party was insane.
I went to a lot of fun parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what is there else to do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Do drugs and drink alcohol.
And do dumb things.
Yeah, there was, I don't want to stem to the negative again. But yeah, I definitely, you know, I met a few people there that I think like you're trauma bonded to.
Yep.
Which is also incredibly unfortunate. But, you know, we all kind of went through the same thing. We all had like similar views, and then we're like, okay, this is, you know, let's kind of
absolutely
get through this.
I think that I like the vibe of a small town. Like a perfect example, I really like Missoula because Missoula is what Portales could be. It is small yet bussin'. It's got great atmosphere, a semi-decent nightlife. It's got lots of restaurants with a variety of foods. It's liberal-minded in the best ways possible. Missoula is tight. Yeah. And I think that's what Portales and other towns like that could be. They just choose to remain. Like, it wasn't a dry county until like 5 years ago. Like, it's historically a dry county. And even then, the liquor laws are so intense there that like you still can't buy on Sundays and everything like that.
Yeah, that's true. You can't do that. Yeah, I mean, I think like Missoula's definitely bigger.
How much bigger? I don't even know the population.
I was gonna say. I mean, Portales population is 12,000 people.
Okay, Missoula's I think 30 with the college.
Missoula's I think. God, I don't want to quote myself on this. I think it's 70.
Really? I thought that was Helena.
Helena is too,
yeah.
But Missoula's bigger than Bozeman.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I felt like Bozeman was popping.
So the thing about Bozeman is that, and it's funny because when I would go there with my mom when I was younger, because we go like every year because her whole family lives there.
Yeah.
The thing about Bozeman is that it has so many amenities. It's always had more amenities than it does a population.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like their ratio is like off because it is a college town, and you know people go there because it's close to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of tourism. It's beautiful.
You got Big Sky right there.
Yes, Big Sky, Yellowstone. Like, and yeah, I mean obviously like Glacier isn't too far, so it's interesting because the population I think is like maybe. Again, don't put me on this, but I think it's like 45,000 maybe.
Okay.
And I think it was maybe like 30, 35 when I lived there, but it seems so much bigger than it is.
It's huge. Whereas you go to Portales and it seems smaller.
Right. And
it's already a small population as is, but it seems smaller than what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Small town America, it just depends. It really just depends.
Yeah.
I find that they're the most down-to-earth people, but there's a lot of more bigotry in that space.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it's a very, very cool feel.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to that feel, again, as like you said, I'm a white man, right? I'm top tier there. So when I walk in, everyone's like, you know what I mean?
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. I'm a good old boy.
Right.
And I would be interested to walk in the shoes of a black woman or an immigrant or a Muslim or a Sikh with the headdress and everything like that. How would they be treated in those situations?
Yep.
I'd be interested to see that. And I can't speak to that because I've never been through that.
Well, I mean, I think yes, and that's, again, I go back to, yes, again, I'm very privileged, and I don't know how it feels because I am not, and I will never understand fully, but I just can imagine, like, the lengths that people would go to because as a white woman who is funky, I got so many looks and so much, hate and like old people being like, oh, because I had purple hair at one point.
Dude, they hate colored hair for some reason. I don't know. I had a mohawk that was red and blue, and all the conservatives
America.
were like, "What's wrong with you people?"
Like, I got the American flag.
Yeah, duh. You know how happy? Come on, it's really cool. Yeah, no. Yeah.
So I can't imagine. I guess when I lived in Lubbock, which was like even worse.
Whoa. That's also the best. That's like the hospital to go to, right?
Yeah.
If you live in Portales,
you go to Lubbock. You get flown to Lubbock. Yeah. So it was. I don't know. I think like you. If you look different at all, you get stares and you get a lot of like hatred. And so I could not imagine, like, I can't even fathom it. And so like, for that reason, I'm like, I mean, I like the idea of living in a rural area, like, you know, being like very small town, like everyone knows everyone. Mm-hmm. But I do think generally people are attracted to that because then they surround themselves with people that are like them and they don't have to accept that there is diversity and that people look different than they do or are different than they are, you know?
Yeah, and they don't have to culturalize. They don't have to consume other media. They don't have to eat other foods, you know what I mean? And that's a shame. I feel bad for them because meanwhile here in Albuquerque, although it's not huge, it's pretty big, and I can have Ecuadorian food, Brazilian food, I can get sushi, I can get all these different cultures very easily.
Right.
So I almost feel bad in that aspect. Yeah. Going back to this, though, you're a videographer,
yes.
right? Where are some of the craziest places you have shot, or the coolest places you shot video for? I assume weddings, right?
Yes. So I would say probably the coolest place. I shot in Silverton, Colorado one time, which is like 5 hours from here. You know, you go to Durango and then you go up through like the scariest mountain pass ever, and it's terrifying driving on that road. But it was actually past Silverton, so you keep going past Silverton. And I was at this venue called Eureka Lodge, which is like a ski lodge. And oh my God, it was the most beautiful place I've ever been. It was pretty stunning. So that was probably the craziest I've done. But I think, a lot of places are, you know, just like in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Taos, obviously. Like,
you
I go
ever
to Las
travel
Cruces. Foreign, or? Yes, I do. I do travel for it. I actually have a wedding in Italy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Which part of Italy?
It's in Tuscany, so it's actually in like Florence area.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really excited. I've only left the country one time.
Was it to our neighbor countries or?
Yes, so it was to Mexico. Okay. So it was for a wedding. So I've only left for work. But I went to Mexico. I went to Cancun.
Ooh.
Yeah, in December of, what was it? I think 2019.
All right, so right before the pandemic.
Or no, 2020. No, it was in the pandemic. Oh. So I was like so anxious and I was like sweating on the plane and.
Because you have the mask and you're like, oh, it's.
I know, I had like my N95 and I was like, oh, I can't breathe. Yeah, so it was,
How do you feel about the mask mandate being lifted for the air travel?
I will still wear one on an airplane. I just like, I read this article that was like, people who partake in a lot of air travel get sick more.
Yes, this is true.
Because there's just so many germs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so, you know, like surfaces and in the air, and like obviously like you're just kind of ventilating the air
and then
throughout
changing
the plane.
Air pressure too, and it
makes you more, makes you more, you know, like
weakens your immune system.
Exactly. I was like, so yeah, I think for me, like I would continue to wear one. I think, I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent towards it. Like I think at this point it just is like a lot. Yeah. Just COVID in general.
It's been here for 2 or 3 years. It's just weird because I think back to like 2020, like the beginning of the pandemic, where like it was locked down, right? Like compared to now, it's just weird. I don't know how I feel about that actually, personally.
Yeah.
No idea.
I agree. I think like for me, I don't know. I don't want to be this bitch that's like, I don't know what the end goal is, but I don't know what the end goal is. Like I don't. You know, like it's hard for me to be like, I don't know. I think like we're almost like you have to just like live your life. Yeah. That sounds like horrible, and I hate saying these things because it is pandemic, and like obviously there are people that have, you know, weakened immune systems and aren't healthy, you know, and like that's obviously they're more at risk even if they're vaccinated. But I do think that it's a tricky situation because it's like what am I gonna do? Like, not work?
Yeah.
I have to pay my bills.
I have to travel for the wedding. I have to open my bar, and in order to have people here, in order to drink, we have to have masks off. You know what I mean? I have to serve people.
Exactly.
It's just not a win situation I can see, because part of me is, I agree, safety is important. I was very good about wearing my mask for a long time. I'm fully vaccinated. I have my boosters and everything like that.
Yep.
But I'm to the point where I never want to be in lockdown again, because my mental health tanked, and I would rather die from COVID and frankly kill myself over lockdown.
But like, the thing is too about that is, like, I always say this, but I think by having a mask mandate and or shutting down, like, we're protecting the unvaccinated most of the time. Obviously there are still people that die from COVID that are vaccinated, but it's like such a small percentage. Like, I think that we're protecting unvaccinated people who don't want to even protect us by getting vaccinated. So,
and the small portion that can't receive the vaccine because they're not medically fit, they're already in situations where it's dangerous to get the cold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard because you want to protect this like small percent because and it's like, I couldn't imagine being in that situation. I couldn't imagine being in a situation where I'm like, fuck, like, I can't do anything. I can't go out. I
have to stay home for protection. Otherwise I might literally die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating. I think all my frustrations just go towards people who don't want to get vaccinated, because I do not agree personally with that. So.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. That's a good take. What's gonna be let's go back to Italy real quick. Yes. What are you looking forward to most about Italy outside of work? Because work is going to take up most of your time.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you excited for outside of work?
Well, I'm excited to see Florence. I think it'll be really cool. I would love to go to Italy again, like, after this, not for work. I don't know. I would love to see other places in Italy. There's so many cool places there. But it just is like, I'm going to be there for, I think, like 6 days. And like most of those days I have to like get over jet lag, because that's like, and then I think 3 of those days I'll be staying in the villa with
the
couple.
You're not going to have any time, because in order to go to a foreign country, like, see, you need like 2 weeks minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so it's going to be fast, and it's like in the thick of busy season.
Yeah.
So I'm really super excited though. The couple is like incredible, and it just is fun. Like, I think, I don't know, I'm transitioning from doing wedding photography to doing wedding videography, and it's just been like very fun, and I enjoy it a lot more.
Why is that? Why do you enjoy videography more than photography?
So I started by doing video. So when I was 13, I started going to these like film camps in Denver, and I would go there every summer basically. And I kind of really started getting interested in that. I was always like, I want to do something like with movies. Like, I want to make movies. I want to direct movies. I want to film movies, whatever. But I want to do like, film industry stuff. And then I got to college. I went to NMSCU. I went for a semester to get like the film degree. I don't remember what's like creative something there. I don't remember what it's called. But I went to get the film degree. And then after a semester, I was like, this is stupid. Everything I'm learning here, I already know. I don't need to learn how to do the rule of thirds.
Yeah.
When I've been doing, like, I know the basics of filmmaking, and I just was like, everyone here, I wasn't about it. I was like, I just feel like this is a lot, and to pay a lot of money.
How long did you stay in the program?
Just a semester, and then I switched to sociology.
Okay.
Because I love sociology.
Yeah, it's
I
really
love it so much. And then I dropped out after that.
Nice.
After a year.
Dropouts.
Yeah. Woo. So it's fun. So I don't know. I think, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think,
I was talking about like photography versus videography.
Yes, that's what you're saying. Yes, so I started out doing that. I went to school for it. And then while I was in school, I was talking to my dad, who is academia man. He's a professor. He has a PhD.
Smart dude.
Yes, very smart guy. He can do like crazy math in his head.
Ooh, real smart guy.
Yeah, and my mom is like super smart too. She's kind of more entrepreneurial. But she also is a professor. So they both were professors. And he was like, "You're really gonna pay this much money? Like, can't you just go do it? Like, can't you just go like put props on, like on a set?" I don't remember what they call it. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, if I wanted to do that, I could probably just go do it. I could probably just go into the industry.
Yeah.
You know, I could even just, I have a friend and he like buses people around. Like I could do that and just kind of work my way up. And then I was like, okay, is this realistic? Maybe, but I don't think I should be spending this much money regardless. And then my second semester, I started taking a lot of photos.
Yeah.
I was in a sorority.
There you go.
And so all the girlies wanted pictures. So I was like completely booked for my second semester with like photo shoots every single day. And then I was like, okay, is this really, do I really need to be going to school? Like, I'm sure I can make something of this. You know, like photography is, I'm really passionate about photography. So maybe I should just go that route, right? And then I did photography. And it was really fun, and I still love it, and I still do it, and I still, you know, do wedding photography and stuff. But then I was like, okay, like I think I really want to do wedding videography. Like this has always been something I've been super passionate about. Storytelling is like an entirely different thing when it comes to video versus photo. I think photo, you can only tell so much story.
Whereas videography, you can tell a feature-length film worth of a story.
Exactly. So I mean, I know video is a lot more intense, and I don't think I knew at the time when I got into it, like, how expensive it was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Or like,
what's the equipment like? Like, what type of camera do you shoot with?
So I just bought the C70, which is a cinema camera, and it's super amazing. It shoots 4K and doesn't overheat, which was an issue I was having with my R6.
Yeah.
Because when companies make cameras for photography, generally the video aspect of it isn't as good because it's a camera made for photo that also shoots video. So like my camera would always overheat, and so I'd be shooting weddings and it would just overheat, and I'm like, okay, this is like not professional. I can't just be like shooting half the day in like 1080p because I can't shoot 4K because it's overheating. So I was like, I'm just gonna buckle down and buy this camera. Very expensive, but very worth it.
It's also an investment in your brand, you know?
Right. Exactly. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, it's always hard for me to make purchases because I'm very frugal, even if I know it's going to do things for me. So I was like, okay, I have to think about this for a bit. Then I thought about it and I was like, okay, I still want it. I think I need to buy this before the season starts so I can have it for all of my weddings. Like, I think that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So yeah, then I just got it, and I have 3 lavalier mics.
Nice. What type of, because for various projects that I'm working on, lavalier mics are in the future for us. What do you recommend as far as like with lavaliers?
So it's a Tascam DRX 40.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Yes, it is cool. I have 3 of them. So I have 2 black ones and 1 white one. And so usually I'll mic the officiant, the groom, and then I don't know, if I have 2 brides or something, like I can mic the brides, or 2 people wearing dresses, things like that. And then I have a Tascam is the GOAT. I just have all their stuff. I have a Tascam recorder that plugs into a sound system, so then I can record into sound system. So like if you have a microphone plugged into a sound system, I can plug into the sound system and record the line. So that's really fun. And then I have a miniature Sony mic that slides onto a microphone, handle. So it's like a sleeve. It has a sleeve and you slide the microphone in. And it's like kind of a shitty mic, but it's just really nice because if you're doing speeches, you can have it like close to them, and it's really loud into it because it's right by their mouth.
So it's good enough. Yeah.
So those are the mics. I have 2 tripods. I have 3 cameras. 2 more outside of my C70.
So there's like a lot going into being. Do you ever have to have help, or is it just you running everything?
So this is actually something that I've recently started to realize is like it's just too much for me to do by myself. I think like I have an ego thing a little bit. That sounds like bad, but it's so hard for me to like give any control to anyone else because I think like my business is very personal. I like want it to be a very specific way, and I'm scared if I give that to other people, like if I give any part of it to anyone else that
it no longer becomes yours.
Exactly. But I think I started to realize I had hired an administrative assistant recently.
Ooh, so you're like
very
big
fancy.
Somebody like books for you and everything.
Yeah, so she like will answer inquiries and
we'll
things
get you in a
like
second.
that.
I go and have a seat.
And then she'll answer inquiries. She will message people, set up calls, all these things. So she's really amazing. And by doing this, I think I've realized like, okay, shit, like I don't need to be doing every single aspect of this business. Like there are a lot of things that I can give to other people to do. It's like, I don't need to be like sending someone my brochure that I've already crafted, that I've already written myself. Like I don't need to be the one who clicks send. Like that just is not necessary. So it's been really cool having her, and she's amazing. And so it's kind of been eye-opening to the fact that like I'm being more productive. I'm not being productive. Well, I am, but
it's just working
she
smarter.
is being productive
on your behalf.
Exactly. And then I think about too, like, okay, how much money do I make an hour? And I'm doing these things that I don't need to be doing. So it's like, I kind of have started to look at it as like, okay, I'm paying myself this much an hour. So do I need to be doing all these like administrative things at my pay? Probably not. Like I can probably hire someone to do these things for me.
Yeah.
So that's been really awesome with her, and that's like just changed my life a little bit.
So you own the business then. This is under your entity.
Yes.
So what have you found? Let me phrase this question. What are 3 things that you wish you knew before you got into owning a business?
Taxes are a bitch.
Okay. Fair.
Especially when you make money, taxes are a bitch. I don't think I realized when I was like not making a ton of money that like taxes were such a bitch.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you reach a certain point, it like doubles the percentage.
Yeah, because you hop from like 14 to like 24 like that.
Fast.
Yeah.
So that happened to me, which is really fun. So I had to pay a lot in taxes. But then too, it's kind of one of those things where it's like if you're paying a lot in taxes, you're making money, which is
you're making
great,
enough money to at least pay those taxes.
But it's also like, nice. Oh my God, this is insane. So I would say taxes. And then 2, I would say it's not as like pretty as you might think it is, or as it seems. Like I cry a lot.
Oh, fair.
I also cry a lot as a person, just in general. But like, there's a lot of moments that are super overwhelming. And I think too, like when you're building a business, like you will never fully understand like how hard it is to like continue to build your business when you're seeing no results, because like results are not.
They're not indicative of where you're at.
And they're also not instant, right?
Yeah, like they take time to build. Yeah,
I would say I moved here like 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And I did not have a single client for probably a year,
Wow.
Here in Albuquerque, right? Like I had clients elsewhere, which was the reason I could keep going. And you kind of just do what you have to do. But it's like, it's so hard, like mentally, it's such a hard mental game to like continue to go through that, because you're like, oh my God, I suck. Like, why is nothing happening for me? Why is nothing going for me? So I would say, like, I don't think I really understood or, like, anticipated, like, what the mental game of that would be, and, like, how I would have to, like, really, like, be like, okay, you need to chill the fuck out. Like, you need to be okay with this. Like, it's okay. Like, this is not how it's always going to be. Like, I also believe that if you have a good product and you're a nice person and, you create a good experience, like, the clients will come. It's just a matter of them finding you.
Yeah, so then the marketing is the big key for that, then the most important part.
Yes, so that's the thing, is like when I first moved here, how would anyone know who I was?
How did you get people to know who you were?
So I did a lot of free stuff. I did a lot of free shoots. I literally was like, if I'm not going to get work, I'm going to be doing like at least a shoot a week. That's free. It doesn't matter. Like I want them to be cool shoots. I want them to be shoots that make people talk about me. I want them to be shoots with people that would repost them, and like maybe more people would see me. I would get more exposure from them posting them. So that's pretty much what I did. But I think now thinking about videography, like videography has taken off very quickly.
Yes. So you very quickly went from that 12% tax bracket to that 24% really quickly. Yeah.
And so I think like, just in the last year probably. So I think like.
Well, that's good. I'm happy that it's like being successful. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, but I think the reason it took off was because I was giving these photographers good experiences to shoot with them. So I would be doing video, they'd be doing photo, they'd have good experiences. Or I had all these photographer friends, and so they would always recommend me. And so like, when a photographer recommends a videographer, like the client is most likely at least going to reach out to that person, or
because
at
they trust
least
the
look at their
photographer
work.
already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have work that speaks for itself and it's just a matter of getting people to your work, like having that recommendation, having that like person refer you is like huge. And so I think that that's the biggest reason. Like obviously I have other people to thank, you know, other vendors even, other clients to thank for recommending me, because like I think that's why it's taken off so much. And photography, I mean, it was definitely slow. Like it took like a year of me just doing like a lot of free stuff. But I mean, I'm here now, so.
What brought you to Albuquerque? Because oftentimes, land of entrapment, right? I personally have moved 3 or 4 times. I always come back. You've moved away. You came back to Albuquerque, not to say Port House, but Albuquerque. What made you come to Albuquerque?
So it was kind of one of those things. After I dropped out of college, I really wanted to go to Albuquerque, but I was like, okay, so me and my mom, we came and looked at apartments, and every single apartment was scary. And I was an 18-year-old girl by myself, and I was like, Mom, I feel like I'm gonna get shot in here. And then also there's so many cockroaches everywhere. And I remember we went to one apartment, and this lady, like, we were waiting to get a tour, and she was like, are you trying to move here? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, don't move here. And I was like,
oh shit.
Okay. So I took her advice, and I just moved back to Lubbock with my parents, and I saved my money because I knew, okay, if you're going to move to Albuquerque eventually, like, it's going to take time to build up a business. Like, you need to have
safety funds. Yeah.
A net, right? So that's what I did. And then I was living in Lubbock for a year. I was incredibly sad.
Oh, shoot.
I slept until like 1 p.m. every single day because I was like, I hate everyone in this town. I don't like this. I feel like my craft is like not necessarily respected by the people who had seen it, and I didn't know how to break out of that. I didn't know how to get other people.
Yeah.
Because I think the photography, or I guess, you know, client pool in Lubbock is incredibly cliquish, which I think is great once you get in, because then it's like you have these like diehard fans, right?
Well, until you get in.
But how do you get in? I didn't know anyone. I didn't go to college. Like, I was like, how do you meet people? How does this work? And so I did try, and I met some like really incredible friends, but it just was like, we were all like outcasts almost, because we just didn't have like similar beliefs to most of the people that lived in Lubbock. So it was like very hard.
When you say beliefs, you mean like liberal versus conservative, or do you mean like religion, or what do you mean by that?
I would say all. I think like I did not feel like I resonated with anyone on anything at all, really.
Okay, fair.
I think, and for me, I think the biggest issue with all of that is just like a moral issue. I think it's like it's hard to be around people that are racist,
yep,
that are homophobic, again, all of these things. It's very hard for me to like
and
associate.
Have professional respect for them,
right? And it's hard for me to associate. And not to say I can't. And I do have clients there, and they're also kind. But it was a lot. It was a lot to be thrown into, and I was like, I need a change. I need something else. And then my older brother, he lived here. He had just moved here for a job, and he like had this house, and so he was like, well, if you want to come live with me in Albuquerque, like, yeah, you can pay me rent. And I was like, okay. So then I moved here, and
nice.
I just was like, well, this is happening.
I really like Albuquerque. I don't like it when people shit on Albuquerque. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I love it when people are like, Albuquerque's where I want to be. I think that's just super cool.
Yeah.
That was last call. I know you're still sipping on that one.
Slow.
You're good. Did you want me to get you like a shot or anything of something, or
it's okay?
Did you just go with that?
Okay. I'll try to finish it.
Cool. They're gonna be closing up around us. But whenever we see the lights go a second time, that's when we got to kick you out. But
okay.
yeah,
Sounds
feel
good.
free. I'll just make sure that's the last call. So awesome. That's cool. You don't drink a lot, or
no?
That's fair. Did you ever used to drink a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
So I occasionally have a cider. That's like my thing. Okay. My partner, he likes to go to breweries because Albuquerque has incredible breweries, and
we have a lot of them too.
I get it, and they're really cool breweries. Like, you know,
like
there's
Rio Bravo, Marble. There's so many good ones.
Have you been to Gravity Bound?
Yes, Gravity Bound. There's this one called Alien Brew Pub. There's the other one.
Okay.
It's Nexus.
Nexus. Oh my
is
God,
good.
chicken and waffles.
Oh. No, I haven't had their waffles yet, but like they're really yummy. I eat there, and then I always get their the cream beer, and it's so good.
Ooh.
I'm a beer guy though, not a
Are
cider
you
guy.
a beer guy?
Yeah, I'm a beer guy.
Yeah, see, I just can't drink beer. Like, it disgusts me. It makes me, like, literally want to vomit. So I just don't drink beer.
Fair.
But I will go with him and I'll have a cider, and he just, like, loves it. Like, he's like, oh, we gotta go to a brewery. And, like, when it's, nice outside, like, we'll sit outside and it's so lovely. And
Yep.
so I do that way. And I'll have a glass of wine. Like, I like having a glass of wine. But yeah, I definitely like partied really hard in college, my 1 year that I went.
Fair, yeah.
Even the first semester.
You got to get it out 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh gosh. And I think like I've, not to like toot my own horn, but I think I've always been like a little like, not mature, because I'm not saying that drinking isn't mature. Of course not. Lots of people drink, and
it's true.
It's not mature. It's not that it's not mature. But I don't know. Like, I just have never been like, oh, this is something I need to do, or like, drunk.
You handled it in a mature fashion, which is beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I don't know. I just like, I never feel like the need to like, and again, I don't want to shit on people that drink a lot, but I just like have never been like, oh, I need to drink more because I like how it feels, or like I need to drink more because I like want to be more social, or I like want to, be all these things, or I need to cope, or, which I mean, I also think like
alcohol and coping is not a good.
I was gonna say that's a horrible path to go down.
I think that there's a lot of negative things with alcohol. Obviously, alcoholism. Right. I tell people all the time: alcoholism, drunk driving, dependency, mood adjusters. It's just all bad. However, if done in a mature fashion, can be a great environment enhancer.
Right.
And that's why I try to promote in my bar is just alcohol for good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I'm very responsible. I don't drink when I'm serving people. It's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good, healthy relationship with alcohol.
Exactly.
Which I don't think we have in America. I mean, our drinking age is super high. Our alcoholism rates are super high. When you go to countries like Germany, whose drinking ages are like 16, and for the most part, they have a decent relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
So.
It is interesting. I do think like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, my family has like a past with alcoholism as well. So I think like in that way, like it kind of like deters me more and like makes me feel like more like, okay, I have to be responsible. Like I can't
be careful. Yeah.
Become like that, and like my mom had a similar situation. Like both my parents don't drink.
Oh, completely sober.
So yes. And then it's not even like they like have to be sober, or like, they had a problem.
They just choose not to be.
Exactly.
Which is the best kind. It means you didn't get to the point where you realize you had a problem. You just say, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
See, and I'm the exact opposite. I didn't drink until like 6 months ago. I'm very new to drinking.
Okay.
Yes, I came from a prohibitionist culture and religion, conservative religion.
Fun.
But I found that if I stay low tolerance, I get a little tipsy easier. I'm a cheaper date, and I have more fun because I'm not dependent and have to get fucked up
exactly
all the time. It's a healthy relationship with alcohol.
Yeah, I think that's important, and not to say like I don't like go out.
Yeah, there's some times where you get kind of lit, right?
Exactly.
Anytime we go to a drag show in Albuquerque, you get toasted. But
that's funny. Yeah, I've never like been like, oh, I need to, and I don't know, it just isn't my thing. Like it's not fun.
Yeah.
Or like super fun for me, so I'm like, why would I do that?
If that's not fun for you, what is fun? Because it sounds like you work a lot. So what's your fun?
So I also like to think I have a great work-life balance, because
Excellent.
I think that this is, I feel like I'm just like hyping myself up, but
no, that's good. Hype yourself up.
It's things I've tried really hard. I've tried really hard to have a good balance, because I've understood how not having a balance makes you burn out, and then it makes your work shit, and then it just is this like entire cycle. And so you have to like really try. And I think too, my personality, like my mom's personality as well, which is probably where I got it from, is like very like always working, never relax. Like you always need to be productive. And so I've like in the last like probably since I moved to Albuquerque, I've had to like deconstruct this idea that productivity is always good.
That's something I need to work on.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So it's great once you get there. And I think like I still have my days where it's hard, and I'm like, I just want to, after I get done from a shoot at 7 p.m., I want to edit until 2 a.m. But like, that's not sustainable.
No, what that does is if you have work lazy. I'm going to say lazy. I mean that in a great way, like unproductive, productive, relax.
Yeah.
It builds a staircase of productivity. Exactly. Whereas if you go the other route, you push yourself too hard and then you crash.
Right.
And you push yourself too hard and then you crash.
Right. And I think when I took the sociology, when I was was majoring in sociology, I took a class and they were talking like, it was kind of like about like sociology and like urban developments type thing. And there was like this part of it that was talking about like the third place is like the theory they had was like the third place. And so they always reference Cheers as like, you know, the bar where everyone goes and it's like their place outside of their house and outside of their work. And I know this is like not like a direct correlation, but I always think of the third place in my life as like, okay, I have, and this is different because it's like I have my home, I have my work, but it's really just my work and I need other shit outside of it in order for my work life to be better.
Absolutely.
And so I think, you know, it's like the similar thing where it's like you have to have a good work, home life, and outside of that life balance to live a perfect life. And all those things intermixed create better experiences in each of them and like create more productivity in each of them. So it's kind of the same thing. I think like it's like, okay, I have, you know, my work life, and then outside of that I have to have other shit because then it betters my work life.
Absolutely.
And so every time I relax, I don't think of it as like, oh, I'm taking an entire Netflix day and I'm not moving at all. I don't think of it as, oh, I'm not being productive. I need to be doing work. I need to be getting these galleries out or getting this video done. It's like more of like, I'm relaxing so that when I go to work, I'm going to be so much more productive and I'm going to feel so refreshed. And I'm going to do better things because like creativity is very fragile.
And it's hard to work in creativity. It really is. So that's the last one. If you can't finish, that's okay. But while wrapping up, I really appreciate, no, you're good. It's okay. While I got you here though, I'm starting a podcast. It's called the Let's Have a Drink podcast. We already have 4 or 5 episodes out already. It's on YouTube and all of the streaming subscriptions like Spotify and Apple Music. I think it's on like Google Cast and Apple Music, Amazon Music too.
Okay.
But give it a listen. It's all about bar conversations like these. So I really appreciate you coming in. I learned a lot from you. Well, I really appreciate you coming in.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a great conversation. We'll go ahead and get you a ride, but it was great to meet you. I really appreciate you coming. You can down there or you can leave it. It's up to you.
Okay.
No pressure. But we do got to kick you out, unfortunately.
That's okay. I'll leave.
Okay. It was great to meet you. Come back anytime. We're more than welcome here.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it was good to meet you. You want to have 5?
Sure.
All right. There you go. Thanks, Emily. Have a good one.